the word cataracts means? It means waterfall. Bet you didn't see that coming. I had trouble coming up with the perfect picture because you have to see both parts of it. But you can see at the bottom of my screen here, there's a clear stream in the end. And it's a beautiful little stream. Probably if you got up close, you could see to the bottom of it and get a clear idea of what's all in the river. But right where the water falls, white foam comes up. And as it's going over, and as it's hitting the bottom, you can't see through that water. You can't see through that water. This picture is actually of a stream in Iceland. Just for your information. Clear stream at the bottom, but it's cloudy as it's running over the waterfall. And that's what a cataract is. The ancient Indians were the first one to call it waterfall eye. The Greeks kind of picked up on that and called it, from their word for waterfall, cataracts. The Indians, as they were, East Indians, India, were the first ones to try to cure it, and they came up with a solution. They would find a little bronze piece of metal that was kind of pokey. They would stick in the fire, get it good and hot, and then they would poke the side of the eye. Yeah, I know, I'm squirming too. And they would get in and they would get to the lens of the eye and they would scrape it a little bit. Yeah, I see a few of you getting sick, I'm sorry. It's not all that much different than modern cataract surgery. And they would scrape it clean, and then they would wash it. But they believed that there was only thing that they thought they could wash it with was breast milk. And so they would squirt that right into the eye, into the interior, onto the lens of the eye, and then they would have people do all sorts of weird acts to get it out. The Greeks perfected a little bit better. They found that melted butter worked better. But actually, it was one of the very first versions of modern surgery was to deal with cataracts. It's been going on now for like 2,500 years, cataract surgeries. Clouded vision, because there's something there. It's kind of like talking about being captivated. And if we're not captivated by the things of Jesus, something is happening. We are to be lit up by Jesus on our insides because he shines bright. And in the fullness of his glory does not penetrate into our hearts and lives. The question is, whose fault is it? Is it because there's something wrong with Jesus, or is it because there's something wrong with us? And the idea when he's talking about the eyes is there's something that is clouding our vision. Pursuit of money, pursuit of praise, I mentioned it before, pursuit of sympathy. We chase after so many things. And any of these things can get in the way. I heard something on the radio recently about advertisers coming to realize some more about how men and women shop differently. Now, we all know men and women shop differently. But this guy was saying, according to studies that they've done, what's very interesting is they did a study about how men and women shop differently when they're in groups. And if you have a group of men that go shopping together, I found this quite fascinating. They are more likely to spend more money. If it's just a group of men together. They're more likely to spend money than if they go in individually. Why is that? Because men are concerned with impressing and outdoing each other. And having a little bit, being a little more prestigious than the guy beside them. Now, if it's women, they're not as worried about that. They try to impress in different ways, or if they're by themselves, it doesn't matter as much. But if there's a group of men together, they all have to prove themselves. If you get a group of women together, they spend less. I think I found something important here. The guy was talking about it from the advertising point of view. It wasn't a good thing. But from my point of view, I can see that being a good thing. Why? Because if you get a group of women together, what are they trying to do? They're trying to please each other and trying to show that, trying to get each other's opinions. Number one, it takes them a lot longer to buy anything. But they also don't necessarily buy things that the group might not think is important. And so between those things, because they're pursuing each other's opinions, they actually spend less. But you take these same people and you send them into a shop alone. You get the men in just by themselves, where it's just the guy in shopping. Of course, he's going to spend a lot less, because what do guys do when they hit the store? They walk straight to their item, grab it, and head straight to the till, right? I mean, that's the only way to shop, right? You try to get in and out fast, because that's what men do. They go in and they conquer whatever they're trying to get. But women will spend more if they're alone. Don't ever send your women in alone. And why is that? It's because part of shopping is helping overcome feelings of being alone and inadequacies, and trying to make up for it with objects. So why on earth would I bring all this into it? The things that we truly value and treasure are buried deep within us. I mean, how many could even picked out that, if we're men, that if I've got another man with me, I'm going to try to impress. I mean, we don't do these things consciously. They are buried so deep within us, we don't even notice that that's happening. And yet they can become a distraction for our spiritual lives. How do we overcome subtleties and distractions that we may not even realize exist? And the only way to do it is to place ourselves in places where we can see God. Last week, and if you missed it last week, go to our website, follow the links, and watch the sermon, because I talked about something that was a little complicated, and it took a lot of explanation, but was pretty critical about how we all worship in different ways. We need to know, and this was my point, how I best focus on God. Because we all do it a little bit differently. In the same way that I need to know how I focus on God, I need to know myself, and I need to know what is it that clouds my vision. What is the cataract, the waterfall that obscures the stream? What clouds my vision and what clears my vision? Jesus wants to flood each one of us with hope, but it takes work and it takes sacrifice. Worship is work. What am I willing to give up? If money is my weakness, am I willing to give up a couple of hours of work to spend time praying? If my need is approval by people, am I willing to spend some time alone with God, where nobody's paying attention to me? Am I willing to escape what distracts me? And go to the things that help focus my heart on God, to find something to replace the distractions. I don't often tell stories about people in our church. I do that very deliberately, but I wanted to tell one. And I asked for permission from Mert Jackson to tell you one. She's not here today. I'm really hoping she would feel up to it. For those who don't know, she's in end stages cancer. Things are not looking good. She was telling me, though, the story that a couple of Sundays ago, after church, knowing that all of a sudden her health had taken a real sharp turn for the worse. And it had done it very suddenly, and she'd gone from knowing that she was really sick to really feeling like she was really sick. That all of a sudden there was a knock on the door, and Barb Christian was there. Was also not here this morning. She was knocking on our door and said, "Get your coat. I'm coming with me." And they drove off, and they went down the highway a little bit to the trestle by Fabian, and got out. And she said the two of them got a blanket. She had some tea in a little thermos. And they got out and they sat underneath the trestle, got under the blanket, drank the tea, and they laughed, and cried, and they prayed. Now, why do I want to tell you that story? We all focus our hearts in different ways, but sometimes when the distractions come up, like maybe that concern about life and death, or maybe just the pressures of life, we have to find ways to walk away from that distraction and walk to Jesus. And head to Jesus. And every one of us, it might be a little bit different. You may think, go and sit out in a cold, well, I know it was really cold this year, but it's February nonetheless, with a lot of snow, and going sitting out there and drinking a lot of tea. That may not appeal to you. But maybe there's something else. And finding things that draw our hearts towards Jesus. That's how we overcome some of the very subtle things in our lives that distract us. That's how we clear the vision. That's how we move from being people who are chasing after the treasures of this world to people who are chasing after the treasures of